first panel of the day that we have is called Lab to Industry, Universities and Research Labs Leading the AI Revolution. If the panelists could please join me. First panel of the day, I said earlier, we have 4 incredible panels today. This one, we picked a topic that I think almost all of us have experienced quite a bit over the last few years. And let me set the stage a little bit. I personally am the founder of the Transatlantic AI Exchange, hence this whole conference is part of it, when it's all about networking and helping startups and entrepreneurs and government to build an AI ecosystem between the West Coast of the United States and, for me particularly, to Europe. Now, interestingly enough, although the times are changing as we speak in the United States, unfortunately not in the right direction, it's my humble opinion. But that wasn't the case until a few months or a few years ago. Because the Europeans, they're looking up at us and research institutions, the MITs, the Stanfords, the Northeastern, I mean, you name it, and particularly everything around AI, that seems to be now a little bit reversal. But there is another dynamic that has happened. And that is that I work a lot with startups and venture funding and stuff like that. And it is so freaking hard to get funding, seed funding, pre-seed. I'm in the middle of it right now. And then I talk to researchers, and this is more related, I have to admit, in Germany. And I had meetings where researchers said, I have too much money. I got too much money from government. Yeah, seriously. I got too much money from government for fundamental research, which is good and it's helpful, but they have too much money that they need to spend for these projects. And I was like, now wait a second, there's a little bit of a misbalance here. And then on top of that, if you look at the traction between research projects and do they ever see the world when it comes to productization and commercialization, that traction is not the best. Now you think, here are the entrepreneurs begging for money in the VC community. Here you have the money with the researchers, and they don't even know what to do with it. That's the topic for today. And that is a real problem that we have experienced. So with that opening, I would like to give everybody the opportunity to introduce yourself, what you do, and then we can talk about the topic that I just talked about.
My name is Cecilia Aragon. I'm a professor at the University of Washington in data science, and also the co-founder and CTO of an AI and travel startup called RWIAI. And I have been working in AI for 30 years, so I'm willing to out myself about my age. And I have not seen what you see about this, but so as an AI researcher, I love solving really interesting problems, and it is very challenging to find money in academic research, always, but especially now. And what I have found, though, is that there's a huge, so here's what really got me into the startup, all right? I found out that travel is driven, half of all travel in the world is driven by events, conferences, weddings, gatherings like this. And the interesting thing is that the organizers are not capturing any of the hotel bookings, the money they bring into a community. So if you look at how people are doing travel right now, it's a lot of emails. Whenever you organize a conference, there's a lot of PDFs being sent back and forth, a lot of personal negotiation. And so we thought, we can do better with AI. So we have an AI-powered hotel sourcing system that automates this process and makes life easier for conference organizers and better for attendees. And it's all at no cost to the conferences or to the individuals.
Thank you. Shanu, go ahead.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, everybody. It's absolutely an honor to be here among such amazing people. My name is Shanu. I'm an assistant professor here at Northeastern University. And of course, no surprise, my background is in AI and machine learning. So I guess that qualifies for me being here. And regarding my experience in terms of startups, so I've been involved in one of the companies that we started. Actually, at the time, I was part of UW in healthcare. But my kind of now initiative or always the passion has been to build something that makes change. So I always kind of look up for gaps. So one of the projects that I do as part of a GenAI research lab that I lead here on campus is to make world safer for kids. So we have a project called Music and Young Mind. So we are building a tool that kind of safeguards our kids from the kind of subtle content that might have gender bias, violence and things like that. So yeah, thank you for having me, and I'm excited for the panel.
Thank you.
Chirag, do you want to go?
Okay, I don't know which order we're I don't know what algorithm is here, but I'll go next. You'll figure it out. My name is Chirag Shah. I'm a professor at University of Washington here in Seattle. I didn't start with AI, and the reason I didn't start with AI is back when I was a student, if you say you do AI, it was considered like you're not doing something important. And so we were told explicitly, don't say AI, because that meant bad thing. That meant you're not serious about applications. That meant it's only theoretical stuff nobody cares about. And so I grew up in that kind of environment where my master's thesis, for instance, was in neural networks, but we didn't label it AI. Then I worked in NLP. We didn't call it AI. So that's the background I came at. So now it's become fashionable to say, yes, it's AI. Even if you work database, it's AI. Everything is AI. So it's kind of interesting for me to see from being a student to now being on this other side as an educator, how all of these things had transitioned. My personal interests and the way what I've been investing a lot of my time are two threads. One on the agentic AI side. So building systems that are capable, smart, where you can actually delegate things, tasks to these systems, and on the responsible AI side. So at UW, I co-run a center on responsible AI called RWIAI, and the RAI in that is not responsible AI, so it's responsible AI, systems and experiences, but RAI very purposefully stands for responsibility in AI. To emphasize that responsible AI is not some product that you can just buy off shelf, and there's a responsible AI and there's irresponsible AI. No, it is our responsibility in building, designing, using AI systems. So we can't kind of leave it to somebody else to design or build right kind of product. No, it is our collective responsibility. So in that context, we do a lot of work related to issues of fairness and addressing bias and things like that, accountability. So there's an active, ongoing discussions around that because we can never figure it all out. But we have to continue having this conversation. And one final thing I would say, I also spend a lot of time working across academia and industry. And one challenge that I find, and maybe this is relevant to this panel, is that what I call the last mile problem. That often in academia, we write papers, we solve big problems. It's like, okay, now somebody will pick this up and implement it. But when you're in the industry, you realize that it's not that easy. And in fact, many times the real work really starts from taking that algorithm, taking that system, and then doing a lot more beyond that. So I often have that privilege of walking across both of these aisles and then bringing lessons from one to the other side. So hopefully we'll get to talk about some of those. Thank you for inviting me.
Very good points. I appreciate that. Carolina.
Hi, my name is Carolina Garcia Rizzo. I'm the only non-professor here. My PhD was in atomic physics, and I agree with you. It was not called AI. And then I did bioinformatics. I moved into applying AI to biotech. It was not called AI. And later on, I did my MBA in MIT, and I moved to the dark side, left the science. But I have been always involved with commercialization of science into industry. I had some executive roles in corporations like Roche, Thermo Fisher, Cepheid Danaher, and lately I was two-time CBO of two startups, one here in Seattle, above us, Just Biotherapeutics, where I was responsible for business and finance, fundraising, deals with pharma, biotech institutions, like governments as well. And also led exit, so sold the company, and then I took another CBO position and another startup, this time AI drug discovery with a pipeline in oncology, and take the IPO. And now I sit in several boards related to AI, some tech, some biotech, some even quantum computing, and also do business development, consulting, and some investments. So thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
That was the short version of her history. So let me actually pick on what you just said. And obviously people probably in this room noticed that I have an accent, she has an accent. I am originally from Germany.
I'm from Spain.
Yeah. Let's start with you. What brought you to the United States? What motivated you, and where's your head right now?
Yeah, of course. So I came, like many of you, I'm sure, in Northwestern and many of the foreigners that are around the world. I came to do part of my PhD in Berkeley. I came with a Fulbright. And motivate me because I come from a small town in southern part of Spain. It's called Murcia. When I came here, believe it or not, when I got the fellowship, they told me, why are you going to the States? We have here the best universities of the world, believe it or not, I was told that. And I say, you know, Berkeley may not be the best, but I'm gonna try it. And a Fulbright may not be the best the best fellowship, but I'm gonna try it. I was driven by, I did also an exchange program when I was 16 here in the States. And I love the States because the openness, the opportunities. I saw it in high school. I mean, in my high school, like yours in Europe, we have physics, math, geography, literature, that's it, right? And you cannot choose among 1,000 different subjects. So for me, it was like amazing. I even saw debate in high school. I was like, wow, you can put out your ideas and debate about them. It was really blow me away. I wanted to come to Berkeley because I saw a university. It was first public, which I was amazing compared to Stanford, Harvard, MIT. And I wanted to explore the different point of view. I thought that America attracted at that point, and I'm concerned with the current situation, whether is this gonna be true, attracted the best of every single country. And that's what really drove me. I saw that there was so much interconnection between business school, social science, pure science, which was my passion, physics, math, you know. And that's what really drove me, the possibility of talking about any topic free speech. And that's what really drove me here. Yeah. And the possibility of working not only on my PhD, but developing relationships with many others. What is the impact of my research in different industries? And and that's what drove me here. And to your first comment, I'm a little bit concerned that all those things that drove us here may not be moving forward. And then I believe that America has the best universities in the world, and you will say, well, MBS, for example, that when I did my MBA in MIT, is similar in lots of different universities because we all study the same cases, but it's not what you study, it's with whom you interact, it's the network. Where can you see the VP of Data Analytics of AWS giving a talk, right? Yeah. This is what really America is about for me, and for the openness, the possibility of doing deals, the possibility of if you work very hard, you can make it. I can tell you I would have never been able to do my career where I am today in Europe.
I have to completely second that. What I love in this country, I came in with a one-year job offer to go back and open an office in Germany for somebody in Silicon Valley. I'm living there now for 34 years. Yeah. And the culture in the United States, particularly on the West Coast, is absolutely amazing. Innovation, collaboration, taking initiative, taking risk, it's absolutely amazing. So I can absolutely second.
And you can make it. If you work for it, you can make it.
Yes. So on that note, all three of you work on the educational side in universities. Give us a little bit your flavor of working in research and universities, and what kind of programs are you nurturing when it comes to startup entrepreneurship? And do you actually have active programs where you help these people here to maybe get motivated to pick up that idea and start as an entrepreneur, as a startup person, a startup? Maybe one comment in addition to that, coming more from the business side, it is a different language. If you are in research and you just said it too, and then you take it and you have to go out on the street and you have to raise money to investors, you have to speak a completely different language. And that normally is also a big disconnect. If you're not being taught that way, you're really stuck. And I would like to know how you all nurture that within your organizations or research and campuses.
So I feel very lucky to be at the University of Washington because we have an active incubator and technology transfer unit, innovation transfer called CoMotion. And I've been very fortunate to be a part of it for many years. And I'm actually now a Provost Academy Fellow working directly with Francois Banix, who's the Vice Provost for Innovation at the University of Washington. And I have to give credit to this organization because when I started out at the University of Washington 15 years ago, I was a geeky, all about the technology and, business. I mean, I worked in industry, but business is kind of evil. Making money is kind of evil. And so I had to overcome this and learn a new language as well. And this is what having established programs like CoMotion is wonderful. And I think Northeastern also has a really excellent program as well. And one of the things that I still try to do now is to reach out to faculty members at the University of Washington and say, you should build a startup as well too, because—
She's looking at me because she's done that.
Yeah. Because it's about having impact. It's about changing the world. All the things that Thomas and Caroline and Carolina have been saying, if we want to change the world, if we want to make the world a better place, bring better health care, bring more women to be involved in our society, increase equity, make us a true meritocracy, which we will only be when everybody participates. We need to be not just in academia, but also in business.
Before I have another opinion from the same university, I would like to balance it. And what does Northeastern do?
Yeah. Yes, I think same as UW, we have an amazing, support for the ideas, and although not as big scale as UW, we are still kind of a small space, especially because on the Seattle, it's like a satellite campus for us. But, from the Boston, which is our main campus, we do get a lot of support. So if a student or a faculty member has an idea and they want to patent it or, think about, starting their own company, we do have organization. They can help you guide through the paperwork, getting, copyright and everything. So yeah, if there are any student who have idea, definitely, reach out to the team here, to the faculty. If you don't know who the team is, you can reach out to me. I can guide you to the people who are working in that space. As for me, I'll run a GenAI research lab. It's very heavy research focused, and we kind of try, look at some of the problem areas that are not very necessarily interest of industry at the moment, because sometimes, and that's something I learned, and now I'm kind of specific about it. So I know something that will make money. Like if I say I have LLM in place, I know I will get the eyes, but I try and not say LLM because that really, really, makes me wonder that, is that what my 20 years of this experience has been, that I'm bound to a word or a terminology to get an attention? So right now, what I'm consciously trying is to pick up the thing that maybe not today has the monetary impact, but does have a long-term impact. And one of the examples that I said was the music. And I think, and it comes from my own personal space. I'm a mom of 2 girls. And I remember the day when my daughter was able to start communicating with Alexa and Google device and whatnot. And then she was asking it to play a song. And then she started playing I'm a Barbie girl, I'm sure. I grew up on that song, and I never thought that it was so objectionable until my daughter started to listen to it. And I was like, wait a minute. I don't want you to believe in a plastic world. I don't want you to think that it's okay for someone to brush your hair. No, that's not right. And then I started researching, like, what's out there, and and of course there are a lot of there's the amendment, the First Amendment, freedom of expression, and all's there. So then I start questioning what I can do as a researcher, as a scientist in that space. And so my kind of thought process now is more in finding the thing that may not be monetary, lucrative at the moment, but something that I feel is long-term impact in changing the world, in changing the society, and things like that. So I don't know if I added to the contribution or if I distracted to it.
No, you did.
But that's where we.
Sure.
May I say
Go ahead,
something?
go ahead.
I love it what you just say, because that's exactly where cross groups of different functionalities work. So she's working in something she's very passionate about. She will have an impact long term. And if she has an impact long term, there is a way to monetize that. And that's when you get a scientist, pure techie, that wants to impact the world, and you take a business person, brainless like me, and take that technology and say, okay, this is how we are gonna monetize it.
That's brilliant. Yeah, that's a great example. Thank you for chipping in. What's your perspective? Are you going to be an entrepreneur in the startup?
No, I think Cecilia covered really well about the thing. I actually wanted to speak, sort of maybe bring up some little bit of a negative thing here. What I've been observing in terms of incubation in university environment. And then that kind of goes back to the original point that Thomas, you and Caroline were making about the changing in culture. So the things that I see in terms of the difference, first of all, there's a gender-based difference. So I don't see many women, and actually more than half of my lab is women. But when it comes to like ideas about taking the research thing to startup kind of thing, there's a huge significant difference in who's willing to take that risk. So And I haven't quite figured out how to change that dynamic, and so I can use some guidance. But the other thing that I also see, pretty much all the students working with me are international students. And right now, they're not thinking about startup. They're not thinking about, like, they have many other things to worry about. And that concerns me, because as much as I would like to inspire them and connect them to all these things, I can't in good conscience, like, ignore the real challenges they're facing. And so, again, I don't have a solution, but I do want to point out that there is a grave impact on our ability to innovate because of these issues that we are facing.
That is a very interesting comment, and maybe I'm too much into my Silicon Valley bubble, but if you go, I spend a lot of time at Stanford, right? It's almost a drug. It's like everybody just needs to, because everybody has done it in the past. Is it a cultural thing up here, or is it a cultural thing on the campus side?
It's happening in Silicon Valley.
Yeah, it's happening everywhere.
And why? Why is that?
Because of the threat to immigrants.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. But I will say there is a way to solve that. And the way is, I understand, because I have been an immigrant for many years. I just become American. The way to solve it is focus on something that is international impact. America is not the only market. Do the network, because if by any chance you get thrown